Interest rates are rising, which was expected because the Fed has been telling us that they're going to start pushing back and not buying the mortgage backed securities, and they're going to slowly raise rates. It's predicted that they may raise them at least 4 times in 2022. So average interest rates are at about 3.5, maybe 3.6. I've had somebody quote it at a 3.75. So it really also depends on the lender. It depends on your down payment. If you're doing FHA, conventional, VA, USDA, all of those things are going to come into account. But you can plan on your interest rate being at least 3.5 and maybe 3.75 coming in the weeks ahead. The major question is, what do higher interest rates mean for you? And why is the Fed raising interest rates right now? Inflation has been a big problem in our economy during this time of the pandemic. Inflation has gone up 7% in the past year. So you feel it in the supermarket, things are more expensive, homes are definitely more expensive. Almost everything that you can think of is more expensive than it was pre-pandemic. And they know because they reduced the interest rate and made money much less expensive than it was in the past and easier for people to get their hands on money, plus all of the money that the government put in the economy that led to inflation. Now, they're trying to reduce some of that by increasing interest rates. So that's why they're increasing interest rates. So hopefully that when people are getting these higher rates, not as many people will want to buy a house. And so they'll back down a little bit. Not as many people would want to buy things. So prices can come back down. Now, housing is a little bit different, and in other sectors as well, because we still have a supply and demand issue. So interest rate reduction may not be enough if we still don't have supply. And in the past, interest rates alone did not decrease home prices. Supply and the lack of demand decreased home prices. So right now our supply of homes is still low. So a lot of people are not putting their homes on the market because, again, and this is what I tell anybody that I'm listing. If I'm going with a client and I'm talking to them about listing their property, I always have a long conversation with them about where are you going, because you're going to make a lot of money, but in most cases you're going to turn around and put the majority of that money back into a new house. And not only are they going to put the majority of that money into a new house now, they're also going to pay a much higher interest rate than they're locked in at right now, because they probably, if they didn't buy in the last couple of years when interest rates were super low, they might have refinanced their mortgage to get that super low 2% or so rate. So it's very important that you are not just looking at interest rates rising and hoping that home prices will decrease. You're also looking at, is the demand decreasing? So demand is going to have to decrease, and also supply is going to have to increase, more homes on the market. If the demand still remains relatively high and supply remains low, do not count on home values decreasing as we go into the spring. So I just wanted to kind of have that conversation as interest rates are rising as expected. I want you to be having conversation with your realtor about what this means for you and your market. Also conversations with your lender, because especially if you've been looking for a while, what you could have bought at the lower interest rate is going to be different than what you could buy now. So as interest rates increase, you may want to get another pre-approval letter to see, okay, if I qualified for 400,000 at 2.75%, what do I qualify now at 3.5%? Do I still qualify for that amount? And you may not. You may qualify for a little bit less now that interest rates are higher. And these are the conversations you want to have with your lender. You want to have these conversations with your agent. The good news for you is that there is likely to be less of a bidding war going into the spring, and you may have a higher chance of getting your offer accepted as we go into the spring. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about what's going on in the market right now, please ask me in the comments. Please like and subscribe to my channel for new videos every week.